Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome back, sisters. You're watching Women's AM. I'm Hassana, and joining us on the panel today we have Sister Zainab, Sister Ayan, and our special guest today is Zahra. Up next is our segment, Inspirational Muslims. In this segment, the sisters take a look at the life of an inspirational person and discuss what lessons we can draw. So, sisters, who are we discussing today?
Today we have Fatima bint Yahya. Mashallah, is so inspirational. Like I said before, she's a mujtahid. So this is on the top of scholarliness in Islam, mashallah. This is someone who knows all there is to know, basically. I mean, to a point, at least within a certain topic. So the full knowledge of the Quran, the Seerah, the situations where the different revelations were revealed, everything. This is scholarliness on another level, mashallah. So she was definitely one of these, and she comes from this amazing pedigree. You know, her father was a well-known scholar, and he taught her. So alhamdulillah, she was very well known for that. So the great scholar Al-Shawkani, rahimahullah, says about her, she was the most famous for her knowledge. She had debates with her father on several juristic issues. Her father, the Imam, confirmed that Fatima applied to ijtihad in deriving rulings. This indicates she was prominent in the knowledge for the Imam, who would not say anything like that except for someone who deserved it.
SubhanAllah. Yeah, absolutely incredible. And, you know, we talk about the fact that, you know, we have female scholars, but here we have an example of a woman who was actually giving rulings on things. And, you know, I love the fact that it says that she used to debate with her father, her teacher. That's incredible. There's so many lessons to learn from her life, isn't there, Sister Ayan?
Definitely. And the fact that when she got married, mashallah, she was also married to a scholar. And whenever he had any issues or questions that his students gave him that he couldn't answer, he used to go back to his wife and ask her. And when he'd go back to his students with the answer, they'd say, oh, you went and, you know, you went to seek your answers behind the curtain. And I remember the first time I heard that, I had no idea it was Fatima bin Yahya, but I was listening to a scholar talking about, you know, the importance of women who have knowledge, and the fact that there was this scholar who went and sought advice from his wife, and his students would take the mick out of him for doing that. And when I started reading into Fatima bin Yahya, I was like, oh, finally I have a name for who this woman is. SubhanAllah, it's amazing the fact that people respected her so much, and her husband respected her so much, that he would go and you know, seek knowledge from her when he couldn't answer anything that his students asked him. So I thought, brilliant. See, women are always right. They know it all.
she's a great example for us, isn't she, Zahra? I mean, especially in terms of seeking knowledge.
Yes. And the fact that she was at the same level, they consider her. And unfortunately nowadays, often the women are put, you know, down, and they are not encouraged to learn as much. Even to go to the mosque is hard. Sometimes there is some hurdle.
Absolutely.
So how are we going to create such great scholar? Well, even if you learn the history, Imam Bukhari learned from many dozen of women. So they used to teach men. So and
I mean, we heard about, you know, the example of Imam Ahmed's mother. We discussed her on the show, and how she was the one who encouraged her son in the way of learning about the deen. So absolutely, you know, there's a responsibility not only on the individuals, but also the parents and just generally the people around them to have that adequate access of education to young girls.
But there's no limit either, because she was a mujtahida. You know, she could have stopped at being hafid al-Quran. She could have stopped at just memorizing certain number of hadiths, and she didn't. And the fact is that it's so sad that today we limit ourselves so much in terms of how much knowledge we gain, or we want to gain, or we think is acceptable to gain for a woman. You know, I mean, subhanAllah, we've got women like her, you know, and we should, inshallah, aspire to be like that, you know, and say, you know, there is no limit into how much I should know. You know, let's go out there and learn everything, inshallah.
Because there is this kind of, you know, this idea or this misconception that, oh, you know, women don't need to kind of learn because at some point they're going to have to give it all up anyway due to whatever responsibilities or restrictions they might have. And I just find it so bizarre, because, you know, you see examples like this and you see that was no barrier to them. You know, they were seeking knowledge regardless of their status, their background, or whatever else it is. And that's definitely an inspiration to us, isn't it?
Yeah, it just shows that, you know, we've got a reality, a society, an environment that is not conducive to these kind of women, and that's something that has to change both inside of our homes and outside of our homes. And it's just, this is the kind of women, and this is the kind of daughters that we should be bringing up. And if, you know, if we expect our women to just go, you know, to basically get married, make food, and, you know, have babies and things like that and have no other expectations of them, then that's something that, subhanAllah, is, you can see why we're in the situation that we're in, and that we need to add more to that picture, that we need to diversify that in order to attain as much reward as we can. We've just been talking about, you know, the grave and the actions that we do, and this is amongst the most highest actions that you can do, getting this reward, and then telling people, doing dawah to this knowledge as well.
Absolutely. You know what I find really incredible is that often we talk about how, you know, beside or behind every great man there's like a woman who obviously supported them, but here we have an example of almost like the opposite. We have a woman who her father taught her and supported her in attaining that knowledge, and then we have an example of the husband who was also very supportive and encouraging, to the point where he used to consult her on issues and actually, you know, take her opinion over his own. So subhanAllah, when you see examples of men who are like that, then you can see the type of women that we have. So it works both ways, doesn't it? We need to also be teaching our sons about this as well. What do you think about that, sister?
Yes, that the beauty and the light of Islam should be open for the woman as well, not restricted and only send the son to madrasas or, you know, to schools, because the more a woman will learn, if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. If you educate a man, you just educate one individual, because she will teach all, and she's half of the society are women, and a third of the hadiths were passed on by women. If you look in the because there are the great muhaddis who wrote volumes about all the muhaddisat during the history of Islam, and they are volume about that. So, but we don't know, and if we look at nowadays, it's not really a reflection of what Islam should be, a light for everybody, for women and men.
I mean, and these are the kind of role models we should be looking up to, isn't it, Sister Ayaan? I mean, tomorrow we're going to be talking about secondary school, and we know how difficult it is for young people to find, you know, beneficial role models. But here we definitely have an example, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, I don't know what it is, but nowadays, sort of the modern sort of world are really afraid of strong women. You know, you have this fear, and then, you know, if you do happen to be a strong woman who has convictions, who has principles, and who works really hard, you're seen as a bit of a, you know, like you're almost like, oh, she's a bit hard, she's a bit harsh, rather than praising and thinking, oh my goodness, she's amazing, look at all that she's doing. No, she's looked at negatively. So the thing is that we have to kind of change that sort of idea of if a woman is very, you know, at the top of her game, that she's at the top of her game because she's worked hard for it, you know, not because, you know, you have to look at her and think, ooh, she's a bit, you know, I don't know about her, I wouldn't want to marry her, I wouldn't want to have a conversation with her, she's a bit too much for me.
Intimidating at
exactly,
times,
yeah, that's exactly the word I was looking for instead of all these gestures. But yeah, intimidating. We shouldn't be intimidated by strong, intelligent women, because we're not going to have a society that moves forward if we don't have strong, intelligent women.
I mean, Aisha radiallahu anha was, you know, an example of a strong, intelligent woman who a lot of our deen, you know, subhanAllah, has come from her. So, jazakallah khair for that, sisters. Definitely, I'm feeling very inspired now. Great lessons to learn there from a truly inspirational woman. Well, we've sadly come to the end of the show, but we will be back tomorrow, of course, inshallah, with another packed episode where we'll be discussing troubles in secondary school. So, just another reminder about our competition this week. We're giving away some fantastic prizes this week. We have the Cacao Orchids Abaya and Cream Embroidery Scarf, which is this lovely scarf over here. I'm just going to hold that up, inshallah. It's absolutely beautiful. So the question that we're asking this week is, what is the mosque surrounding the Kaaba known as? It's A, Masjid al-Nabawi, B, Masjid al-Aqsa, or C, Masjid al-Haram. To enter, email your answer A, B or C to womensam@islamchannel.tv along with your name and address and what you most like about Women's AM. The deadline for entries is Friday the 21st of February 2014 at 4 p.m. All applicants need to be over 18 and residing in the UK, and please note only one entry per person per household. A winner will be randomly selected from correct entries, and the winner's name will be announced on Monday's show, so get entering. Now, last week we have 3 winners of the fantastic We Hear, We Obey tops. So many congratulations to Ayaan Ali, Sanjida Khatun and Muhsana Khatun. So many congratulations to those sisters there, and get entering for this week's competition. And do email us with any comments and suggestions to make the show the best it can be, and we'll be reading a few out at the end of the week, inshallah. Continue to love one another for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and keep all of us and the ummah in your du'as, inshallah. Jazakallah khair to the sisters on the panel. We'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.